before you try to really ask me questions, let me tell you these are something in cyber security which are very much needed by creating three different teams for red, blue, and purple, which I'm going to talk about it now. So before we do that, a quick introduction about myself. I have 24 years of focused experience in cybersecurity. Currently, I am a senior red team consultant for a Fortune 50 company. And I also worked for a lot of other firms internationally. Okay, like Emirates Airline in Dubai and Belgacom, Belgium, and stuff like that. So cybersecurity is a very dear and near topic to me, and I always try to share it with the community. And I also try to teach courses on this. Okay, so that's why I have been involved with lots of organizations where I write courses, I teach courses, and then we offer it back to the community. So here's the agenda for today's session. We're going to talk about the threats, right? Who are they, and why do they succeed, right? And what is that we need to mitigate them? So we will discuss the concept called threat mitigation, which actually revolves around a buzzword called adversary emulation. So you have the adversary who's nothing but your enemy, and if you want to today really do effective threat mitigation, you need to emulate the enemy, which is called adversary emulation. And that's why in organizations and in companies, they have teams that try to do that kind of adversary emulation, and which revolves around red, blue, and purple teams. Okay, so we will discuss how they do that, right? And red teaming steps, and how purple teaming and all that. But I want to show you the current but I want to start off this talk by showing you the current state of hack 2021, right? So the industry and all over the world, they experience lots of cyber attacks, right? And it's happening since the ages, right? And it's not slowing down, it's increasing proportionately, and every year we have new attacks, new sophisticated attacks. So that's why I want to start off with a very recent latest one, which we just concluded 2021, and see how we were taken over and stormed by these sophisticated attackers, right? And they are always improving and upping their ante, and trying to go for the most popular organizations or whoever they are, right? So I wanted to just showcase this by showing you the latest report from a very a respectful cybersecurity organization called CrowdStrike, and they actually do this annual reports. And here, this is the intrusion activity over time. So if you look at this, the graph says it's not really a thing to be pleased about. The situation is gradually degrading. So the quarter one of 2019, and now in the 2020 2021, right, you see the number of crimes have increased, e-crimes, unattributed attacks and targeted attacks, right? So the cyber world situation is getting more and more chaotic all over the world. So who are these perpetrators? Who are the guys who try to carry out this attacks? So they are someone whom we classify as advanced persistent threat. The attackers are really advanced, and they are very persistent. When I say persistent, where when they gain access to your machines, to your systems, to your networks, to your organizations, they lie there hidden, and they are very stubborn. So whatever you try to do to remove them, right, they will again come back, all right, because they will implant something called persistency inside of your networks. So even if you reboot your machines, you clean the systems, they are back. And usually nation state attackers like Israel, China, Russia, they groom this kind of people, right? And they have lots of teams who are given different names, which I'm going to talk about it now. And there are also other actors like cyber criminals, even though they are not backed by nation states, but they are also very skilled, right? These are the names that you see there are Carbonag, Lazarus, right? They're all different cyber attacker groups. Okay. And if you want to know more about this, okay, click on this link here, which will take me to this page. And if you see this page here, which is loading up, can you all see this page that I just loaded up from CrowdStrike? Because any one of you just unmute your mic and tell me.
Yes, sir.
All right, so cool. Now, if you look at this, this is the CrowdStrike organization that I told you, and they do all this, assessments about the different attacker groups. Now, if you look at this Carbon Spider, Cozy Bear, Doppel Spider, and the list goes on, right? These are all the different attacker groups: Viceroy Tiger, Wiki Panda, Wizard, right? And who are they targeting? So if you look at this, they are targeting almost everybody: financial services, healthcare, manufacturing, you name it, academic, right? Nobody is immune to these attacks, and they're all happening. And which countries do they target? Basically, if you look at India, India has been targeted by Fancy Bear, who's nothing but someone backed from Russia. Hammer Panda is someone back from China. Labyrinth Kalima is someone back from North Korea, right? So you can choose the different countries here. If you change this, let's say, you choose someone called, why not? New Zealand. And New Zealand again are targeted by these organizations, yeah. Cozy Bear, Labyrinth, So this way, every country has different sets of attackers, and every attacker group, they are different, and they go after different organizations, different industry verticals, and they are specialists in this, right? And this is how they are actually happening. So Ocean Buffalo is from Vietnam, Silent Kalima is from North Korea, right? So they are all there. So hang on a second. So that those are our adversaries or enemies, right? Which are targeting every single organization or industry, right? No matter who, if you are connected to the internet, you will surely be attacked and targeted, right? And that's why in 2021, there were three categories of hacks that happened. Yeah, and these are known as ransomware, supply chain, and stolen 0 days. So these are some real serious things that have happened, right? There were other attacks as well, but commonly, okay, these are the attacks categories that I've listed out in this three column: ransomware, supply chain, stolen 0 days. And if you look at the breaches on the left column, okay, Colonial Pipeline, they were attacked by two different types of breaches, attacks, targeted attacks: ransomware and supply chain. Similarly, we have an thing called this one here, Ryuk, NSO Pegasus, right? This is stolen 0 days. So let's quickly go and see this. And what can we do to safeguard ourselves, our companies, our systems, our organizations from these attacks. So actually taking you back to 2021 about these attacks, so to find out what is the lessons learned in these hacks, and what is that we can do to stop to brace ourselves. We can't merely stop these attacks, but at least be prepared to not end up as a complete loser. Yeah. So let's start with talking about supply chain attack. So what is a supply chain attack? This is today's hot attack vector, target attack vector. So instead of targeting a specific system or a specific organization, they go after the supply chain. Yeah. For example, let me give you an example. All of you in your companies or even at home, your laptops or they're all connected, and most of you are using Windows, right? Windows 10 or whatever. Windows 10 very frequently receives software updates, yeah, from Microsoft. So you are connected, and in the background, your system is fetching the updates and updating the system, you know, periodically at a time set up by Microsoft on your systems. Similarly, organizations will also, set up something like this. Now, if I want to attack you as an attacker, for me, your system is fully secured, right? And instead of going to you, I might go to one of those, update servers, which let's assume for a, minute that, Microsoft has got update servers all over the world, and one of those update servers is weak. Yeah, and I go and poison that update server, and I push my attack code there, and that attack code, as a matter of fact, will be periodically pushed out to all the systems that are connected to Microsoft, as an update, and you will receive that poisoned update, and your system is now breached. The attacker, as an attacker, I already have access to your system, right? So this is one just a very I would say rudimentary example, but the attackers will look out for different types of supply chain vendors for an organization. Let's say an organization buys something from different providers, vendors, right? And a software like for AutoCAD or whatever, and instead of attacking directly you, they will go and the update server of the AutoCAD, for this company, they will push that poison the stuff there, and every single customer of that will receive that attack. So today this is getting very powerful attack, and organizations Microsoft, Cisco, they fell to this attack called SolarWinds attack. Medoc is another financial software, right? So in the Ukraine, right, someone sent this in 2021 as an update, and whoever were the customers of Medoc, they were all poisoned, and the attackers had a field day by gaining access to this, right? So this is today a supply chain attack which we had never fathomed in our initial stages when we were doing cybersecurity, that the attackers could come through this path. And today it's happening all over the world. Then the second piece of attack that I think you probably know is called the ransomware attack, which have become more deadly since 2020. Earlier, the issue was just, someone used to send a ransomware virus. When you open it, all your mails were encrypted, your files were encrypted, and it was just an availability issue. Like, if you wanted to get back your files, you need to pay that. Today it's also confidentiality. I mean, you're losing sensitive data because the attackers are using this with extortion threats. Okay, so they are saying, okay, we have this confidential data about you. In the earlier, they were just interested in making money. Okay, just give us this money, we'll give you back the keys to unlock your data. Today, they will now, based on the sensitivity of the data, they will ask you for that kind of price, right? If it is really a health sector organization, health industry, where the data is very sensitive, they ask for more money. Financial, they ask for more money, right? So it's all coming down with, return on investment. So they're going after, the data where, so ransomware attacks. Then we have stolen 0 day. So what is a 0 day? 0 day is a vulnerability or a weakness for which no patch has been released by the vendors, for which there is no update, right? Only the vendors can fix a vulnerability or an issue on your system. If they know about it, they can write a signature called antivirus signature. And antivirus companies like Symantec or ESET or Kaspersky, they try to push this. But if it is a 0 day, no vendor knows about this attack. The attacker has written this attack and it is not available publicly in the wild, right? And they use this, to do high profile attacks. It's called 0 day attacks, for which nobody has anything, right? So, but today these 0 day attacks are being stolen, all right? So there are organizations like NSA, National Security Agency from the USA. They also write all the 0 days, right? Because probably they want to control some countries, I would say, right? So they also have 0 days. So Shadow Brokers is an organization that stole from the NSA servers, and and they made it available for public on the free on the internet. Someone took that and converted into a virus called WannaCry, and I think you might have seen that, right? So this is today happening, right? And also there are 0 day attacks against mobile devices. Pegasus is one such, right? Mobile phone 0 days is increasing substantially, right? There's a lot of phone hacking, a lot of mobile hacking, lots of stuff, today happening with 0 stolen days attacks. And this is the Colonial Pipe hack that happened in 2029. You know who Colonial Pipeline is, right? They are the largest oil pipeline network of USA. Cyber attackers were able to shut down the system, right? And in the history, we never heard about this, but Colonial Pipeline had to pay $5 million as ransom fees for the attackers to release their data, right? I think this is the first time. So the whole of the USA was like no gas everywhere, right? Oil was stuck. And so this is the deal that they had to strike, because the data was so sensitive, and they went after this kind of thing, which is called the ransomware attack. And the Cassia attack, this is also a supply chain attack. I believe in the Europe, right? They have all this cooperative societies. These are nothing but your hypermarkets. So someone went in and directly attacked Cassia. That's the software, right? That is used to manage this supermarkets. And they went after all the agencies that were connected to that Cassia software, right? And this is called the the supply chain attack. Everybody in that supply chain were a victim. Similarly, SolarWinds, right? I told you, okay, 3,000 customers, sorry, 300,000, that is 3 lakhs customers were using this Orion application, okay, and supply chain attack, okay, for SolarWinds was every company, I mean, all of most major companies, they were using this to manage their networking devices, networking systems. So the hackers, they went after it, right? And in the result, Microsoft also fell like a victim, Cisco fell like a victim, right? Lots of this stuff happened. And of course, you might have heard about the hype and the buzz that happened very recently about Pegasus, right? Pegasus is from NSO, the Israeli organization, and they have really targeted in a very succinct and a very stealthy way most of the countries all over the world, right? And they go for high profile stuff. Usually this is, they work hand in glove with the uh, with the state operators. And then, so this is Citizens Lab, and they're trying to show us, right, how much of this Pegasus. So this is, 0-day attacks on your mobile phone softwares, right? So if you don't keep on patching it, right, and even if you patch it, this one, they come up with new stuff, right? So that's why, this is so dangerous. And they had this WhatsApp and Pegasus, which they use it to inject spyware on your spy phones. And also the Ryuk one, which is a ransomware, right? This is more of a, phishing virus, that kind of an attack. All right. Okay, so finally, one more attack, which is called the Conti ransomware attack, which happened in 2021. I'm trying to show you the, the most important hacks that happened, which actually caught the world, in the headlines, right? And these guys, they released someone inside of this organization, the hacker group. He fell apart with the hackers, parent hackers, right? And then he released an internal playbook of how, they carry out the hacks. And I read this book, which is called the Conti Secrets Hack Book. And, step by step, they go and teach their operators on how to carry out very devastating attacks, right? So like, these are all groups, okay, who are trying to do havoc on our organizations. So I'm going to move this. So why do they succeed? Basically, the attackers, it's not really some kind of a virus or a worm or some kind of a software thing. It's really an intelligent person, a group. I spent all this time showing you this adversary and their background, just to tell you that, this is not, something that you can fix by pushing a patch or whatever, right? So these are humans, real, thing. And their main goal is to do some kind of a harm to you, to all that. So how can we actually, what do you call, defend against this? So before we do that, let's try to learn about their modus operandi, right? Their plans, and how do they become so successful, right? And they invest a lot to carry out these attacks, right? And the first thing they do is something called attack infrastructure. They need to have, some kind of an infrastructure from where they can carry out these attacks. Then they go into all these other stages, which is called open source intelligence, phishing, persistence. I'm going to talk about it very quickly in all these different stages, to give you, you know a view about how all these things happen in the background. So the first thing is, they start off by developing or creating their attack infrastructure, right? They just won't use their laptop or their system to start attacking you, right? But they have to create, they have to have something like command control servers, redirectors, okay, payload hosters, SMTP servers, and all that. Let's quickly check them out. So for example, this is a simple attack infrastructure. You see, they want to attack this victim here, who's connected to the internet, but they will not use, some website, but, their websites are, you know, redirected. So this is, where I'm moving my arrow. They are redirected, okay, to different systems on the internet, right? This is called anonymizers, and they have this team servers, which are known as command control servers, right? And the attacker will be behind some kind of a proxy or anonymizer, from where, they will try to orchestrate the attack. So this is, called attack infrastructure. And the redirectors, they try to redirect traffic. Okay, for example, where I'm moving my arrow, let me actually see if I can. Yeah. So here, if you see, this is the victim machine. Let's say this is a machine on your home network or your company network, right? And it has been breached. And if you see, the attacker, once he breaches, the traffic from your machine without you knowing, will be going out. It's called the C2 traffic, command control traffic. So it'll bypass your firewall, which is your, let's say, your ISP in your company's firewall, or your ISP firewall, and it'll also bypass somewhere, and it'll reach this redirectors. So once it reaches the redirectors, the redirectors will have some logic there. Okay, it's some kind of logic where you write some scripting or whatever, which will check whether it is a C2 traffic or a non C2. Non C2 is, it's the company's real traffic, like real emails, or people browsing the net, or something. So that one, it'll send it, okay, back to the company's server. But if it is a C2 traffic, which is what the attacker wants, right? He's controlling it. It will directly go to the C2 server, from where the C2 server will try to, control it, and all that. So the goal here is, even if someone is trying to investigate this, let's say they have someone inside their company who are known as threat hunters, right? Every company today have something called threat hunting. It's a capability to, have find out hidden traffic or bad guys. So even if they try to detect, they can only come up to this place. Here it is redirected to different places where they don't have the vision or the visibility. This is called redirectors, right? And this is a sample C2 setup, a command control setup. This is the attacker, and he has the C2. C2 is, as I told you, a complete command control system, right? From where he's now trying to control. So he has this redirectors on the internet, and then he also has a payload server. A payload server is, where he will be having different malicious attacker scripts or programs, right? And then he will also have a mail server through which he will send that mails, which are integrated with those payloads, and they will reach you some system here, and they will start beaconing out. So here you see, it's they're beaconing out. So the internal systems, you will not know as a guy, but within, buried inside of different protocols called HTTPS. You know what HTTPS is, right? It is for browsing securely the web, yeah, or the DNS. This is also a protocol. So the attacker traffic is now hidden inside of HTTPS, and it is going out through the firewall. The firewall is thinking, if someone is browsing the net from the internal network, let me allow this traffic. So the traffic is now maneuvering, going to redirectors. From the redirectors, it will go to the different C2 servers where the attacker can watch and observe. So this is a simple C2 setup that we have. So before they really start attacking you, they have to go and do something called OSINT, which is known as reconnaissance. Reconnaissance is finding out information about your company without actually touching your company systems, right? Through using third party resources like search engines like Google, social media like Facebook, LinkedIn, job sites, right? They will try to find out everything about you without even actually going and connecting to your systems. And they use a lot of tools for this. For example, LinkedIn, right? Everybody has a LinkedIn profile these days, and they will be having, they will put information about where they are working, what products they're working on, and what is that they are expert in. So they've used tools like this called LinkedIn intelligence, right? And then this one will go and you just give the name of the company, Microsoft. It will go and dump, okay, everybody inside of that a LinkedIn who are have a Microsoft.com email address, or who are working for that. And it's a lot of cool information. I can get it when I'm doing this OSINT stuff. And the next step is, once I have the information from them using the OSINT, I will start, sending some phishing emails. So phishing emails is, some kind of a, way for them to make them open an attachment, or click on a link, right? The idea is I want to phish them, right? To, immediately do this. But before I do that phishing, I want to create a scenario as an attacker, which will entice them to open that email or click on that link. And I also want to send that email from a domain where it is likely to bypass their filters. Today, every company has got filters, and if your domain is, uncategorized, or it is not, has got a positive reputation, it will be blocked. So I need to choose, I need to have a domain, proper domain. I need to categorize the domain, and I need to have a proper phishing malware, right? So, but we all start doing this, the attackers, by creating a phishing scenario, right? So something like a pretext, a story, right? They want you to believe that, right? That the thing, right? Probably like a job opening, a recruiter sending you an email saying that we found your CV to be very impressive on the LinkedIn, and please apply, and here is the link, right? And if you're not careful, and if they're trying to attack you, you click on that link, and your system is already breached, right? So there are a lot of pretexts the attackers can use, which are scenarios. And this is a website called Pretext Project GitHub, right? If you go there, there's so many pretexts, right? You can actually choose, the attackers will choose for which they can build this. For example, here your name was submitted to our recognition, right, from one of our team members. Click here to receive your gift, right? It's coming from human resources. So if you don't pay attention to this, right, this will result in you getting fished. And of course, as I told you, every company today, decent organization, they have some web filters which will stop an email coming like this. Let's say, from some corpinternal.com. If this domain is not categorized, or it does not have a proper positive domain reputation, they will stop it. So what the attackers will do is they will try to categorize the domain to get a positive reputation, right? Most of the time, they will use, websites like this, Blue Code, McAfee, right? Where they will go and, submit their domains. So I did not mention here, they have to buy a domain, right? For example, this one here, this corpinternal.com. So if an attacker wants to attack you, he will go to some GoDaddy or Namecheap, right? And he will buy a very similar looking name like your company, right? But it's a fake domain, right? Or it's not really the company's domain. And that domain, they will then send it to this domain reputation websites like McAfee, FortiGuard. If you click on this, where you can submit that domain, and you say, this domain should be in the category for healthcare or finance, and they will do some background checks, right? And the attackers will have to use some email, some what they will normally do this. If I'm an attacker, I will go to, let's say, if I want to attack this company here, okay, let's say it's corp, okay, internal.com, but I have purchased a fake website called corp-internal.com, right? So, and I will go to this website here, and let's say McAfee, and I will create a web page which is called corp-internal.com, which I've cloned it, which I try to clone it here. Let me show you whether, yeah, here. I'm trying to clone that, right? So it's a very similar looking page, just like the initial company's page. And I will create an email address, and I will send it to them here. Okay. And when they come and visit that, they will be fooled, right? Most of the time they will be fooled because it has got the same content as the corpinternal.com, or whatever, and they will give me a positive reputation. Within 48 hours, the attacker will use that positive reputation to start creating his fish attack. So to automate that, the attackers have written something called domain reputation automation tools, Chameleon. You just submit it, right? I'm just submitting a Chameleon, and then I'm asking for google.com, and see, what google.com's reputation is. So here it is searching, and it says, it is found reputation from IBM X-Force and all that. So similarly, if I'm trying to fake google.com, I will say go0gle.com. All right. So it's just like, trying to fake that, and I'm trying to create a fake domain. And there are one of the two goals for an attacker. Either he wants to do credential harvesting, steal your user IDs and passwords, even if you have multi-factor authentication, or run some remote code on your system, which will give him access to your machine. And they do this through lots of ways, right? So let me quickly talk to you about one way called using a system called GoFish, right? This is an open source software which they use to create a very convincing fish email, and they will send it through a campaign. They will create a campaign, and through the backend mail server, they will try to send this, and it will all look very convincingly. They need to have a SMTP server, and this is their website, very convincing. This is actually a fake website for the Office 365 portal, right, for some company. But look, it's when you try to clone it, it becomes so real, right? And the victims will not be able to find out whether it is fake or is it real. And even they try to send it, and even though you might have companies today have multi-factor authentication, after your password you are also supposed to enter, okay, some kind of a one time token or one time password, right? So in order for that to hack this, there is also another framework available called Evil Jinx. Okay, so here for Office 365, where I'm having this for Outlook, for Gmail, for Amazon, for LinkedIn, right? So it's internally, it's trying to reverse that connection and trying to send that. And then once the connection is coming back from the original website, it is not going to the actual user. The guy in the center running Evil Jinx, the attacker, he will be able to intercept that connection, right? And he is now catching your one time, so your credentials and your tokens, right? So even you have by multi-factor authentication, I can steal that. And look, when I'm stealing that here, I have all authorization tokens intercepted, and now I can use that to log in as you, right? Maybe you are logging into Office 365. I can use that to log in as you, from your thing, or to your Dropbox site, or to wherever you want, right? So that's kind of thing that is happening. And if they want to do remote code execution, for example, you open an attachment, the backdoor will be open and the attacker can enter your system. For this, they will use something called maldocs. Maldocs are malicious office documents, okay, like PowerPoint or Excel or your Word documents, which will be embedded with all sorts of malware. Yeah. And there are lots of automated softwares that can do this, like Lucky Strike. So it can embed something called this one here, which is called HTML applications, stuff like that. So this is, this one looks very simple to you, right? I mean, innocuous, but it comes with malware embedded in terms of in the form of a what's called macro, right? And they will in the phishing email, they will ask the guy to click on this enable content, right? So they will build a story or a narrative. If you want to open this and see the offers and the discount, you need to enable content here. If people are not security savvy and conscious, they will click on that enable content, and immediately the malicious macro will get executed, and the attackers will have a reverse connection back to your machine, which is this, right? So here they are getting an initial access, right? This is an initial access. They get an initial access, and here in this window, you can't see the attacker is already now sitting on your system, right? He's got access to you when you just open that enabled macro on your system. The next step the attacker will do is, he might be landing as a normal user. He might be getting access here as a normal user, but he wants to become the most privileged user, which is called the system user, the administrator user, right? So for this, he will try many different techniques like DLL search, all this are possible, right? I don't want to get into this because it's too technical, but they try one after the other to elevate their privileges. And on your system, you might not be having that level of high privileges, but the attacker will try to do this one after the other until he gets that elevated privilege. Once he's there with elevated privileges, he will build persistence. Persistence is, he will always survive system reboots. You reboot the system, you do cleanups, you do that, he is always there hidden on your system, right? Basically, he'll be what do you call, hiding inside of registry keys or scheduler task or creating new services, all the stuff which is happening here. Look at this scheduler task is creating, and this is an implant.exe. And every time at 9 o'clock in the morning, it opens up again a new session, right? So it keeps on going, right? So they have plenty of ways to build persistence like this. And why do they do persistence is, even if you reboot your system or you try to clean, they are hidden on site, or even at the kernel level, so they can come back. Once they are back, now they try to move from one system to the other, to the other, to the other, until they go for the main system that they are interested in, probably your database or your domain controller. This is called lateral movement, right? So they want to keep on, finding out juicy targets as part of their conquest, right? Hidden surreptitiously inside and inside. And how do we now? I mean, that was a real quick thing about how they do it. So how can organizations really try to stop this, right? And there's only one technique, right? So our software devices like firewalls, antiviruses cannot really stop it. Remember, the threat actor is a human, right? They're intelligent guys. So we need, some people who will try to emulate the real guys, the real attackers. And this is known as adversary emulation, right? Where you train your team members, to have those skills, and those skills will make them, you know some kind of a cyber hero, right? And this is what we teach companies, to develop this adversary emulation, right? Where you learn the techniques, and then you try to do adversary emulation, where you are now trying to behave like the real bad guy, but in a more controlled way. Why do companies do this? To understand current exposure, okay, and help prioritize on defenses, right? And then keep on repeating this for improvements and all that. So this is, it's called adversary emulation stuff. Yeah. So adversary emulation is, the most one of the ways today, because the attackers are targeting you in different ways. I showed you, right? They have. I showed you in the earlier slides, the North Korea attacker like Panda, or the China attacker called Chameleon, right? So if you want to defend against this, you need to wear their hats and become one of that adversary, right? And we do this by conducting something called red teaming, blue teaming, and purple teaming exercises based on some popular kill chains like Mitre attack, Mandian, Lock-in. These are all some popular kill chains that we try to use. So let's quickly talk about a red team. So a red team is an internal team inside of an organization, okay, who are someone with ethical hacking skills or penetration testing skills, right? But in a little bit more advanced way. And the red team here is interested in finding out the weaknesses across people, the internal people, the blue the people who are managing the cyber security internally. So what kind of loopholes or weaknesses they have in their processes, in their technologies like firewalls, like antivirus, right? I want to find out, and what do you call about that. And that's why we create this red team. Yeah. So in my company, I'm the senior red team lead, where I have a team, and we try to do this, and we always try to check out the blue team, right? Who's the blue team? This is the security professionals who are now defending the organization, right? And their task is to strengthen the castle, so no intruder like me as a red team can compromise their defenses, right? So we need to have a red team who are trying to emulate the bad guys, and we need to have a blue team who are trying to protect the organization's critical data, right, against any kinds of threats, right? And how do they do this? By analyzing logs. So there are logs inside of organizations, right? Like they have a platform called SIM, which is Security Information Event Management System, which collects logs from different places, right? And they do threat intelligence and try to observe the logs from different devices that are going on. All this is needed to understand where the thing is happening. But in companies today, we have a red team and we have a blue team, and both of them have the common goal to improve organization security. Red by behaving like attackers, and blue by trying to stop the red team from really becoming successful. But you know what really happening today? Most of the organizations are not really coming up to the red and the blue working perfectly. Why? Because red always wants to win, right? By finding out all sorts of weaknesses, and they dump it on the blue to go and fix this. Blue will always want to stop the red, but the red will try some way or the other, and there is some kind of a disconnect here in organizations, right? They both think they are opposing the things, even though the goal of the both teams is to improve the company's cyber security posture. But it's not happening because of common problems like ego and stuff like that, right? So they have a red team who always wants to go after and attack, and the blue team, they think they have to stop this, and something never really works. So that's why today we need to have something called a purple team. A purple team is actually a mixture of both the red and the blue teams, right? So they are not different now. So we create a purple team who also have members from the red team and from the blue team, right? And we integrate, they work hand in hand. So when the red carries on an attack, okay, and the blue, which is also a member from this red and blue purple team, they will now very closely monitor. They will share the knowledge about the attackers, the defense, the detections, and they try to build out proper defenses. So this is today working for us, which is called a purple team. So earlier we just had red, we had blue, but now we have both mixed together. When you mix the red and the blue, out comes the color called the purple, right? So, and this is how today's companies are dealing with this, right? So I have not gone earlier. My one of my initial goals was that I'm going to take you through the process of really technically finding out what a red team does, what a blue team does, what a purple team. But when I was reviewing the slides today morning, I kind of realized it's too technically intensive, right? Because I have to show about the logs, I have to show about the hacks, I had to show about the defenses, and I myself felt at least this is a general wide audience here in the MFIRD session, because we have people coming from different walks of life, from different disciplines, and I felt I'll be wasting the time by focusing on very intense technical topic, right? Maybe I will do it just for the people who are interested, right? If you're interested, just leave it in the comment section. Okay, maybe a next session purely for those guys, and be alarmed or be aware that it's purely very technically intensive. Okay, because I'm a technical guy, and here I just try to cover from a very 50-foot view of what exactly companies do, right? They need to have these three teams, and this is how today in a single narrative, the red and the blue and the purple, we are winning today in organizations. So some closing thoughts is blue teams should now become purple, and if they just think we will be winning, no, you need to think red and test blue, right? So that means to say you need to become purple. And this is a very high profile job market today, right? Red and blue and purple, right? So if you have something here, they will really respect you, and it's a very hot thing. I think in my previous presentations, even if you go back and search the MFIRD channels, I've spoken about cybersecurity careers, right? The hot 20 cybersecurity careers to choose and which one to go for. We covered in my previous sessions. If you want to become a penetration tester, right, just go and review those on the MFIRD YouTube channels, right? What you need to do to become a pen tester, ethical hacker, or even just a cyber generalist, or what are the different cyber careers that you need to pursue, right? I have included all of that in my previous channel, and you can go and search for cybersecurity on the MFIRD YouTube, and you will hit one of those presentations from me, right? And that's it. So anything, just let me know. So if you I'm opening it for questions. I covered it from a very high 50-foot view, but I think it is sufficient for the audience of this nature. So I'm opening it for questions. So go ahead, shoot me any questions. You can unmute your mic and ask me any questions. I can, right? And also leave comments if you want to have more technically intensive presentations, which I don't mind covering up.
Now,
Hidayath sir, can I start?
Yeah, go ahead. Please identify yourself.
Yeah, I'm Usman Ali from Hyderabad. Thank you, sir. Your presentation was excellent. And my question is, sir, like with the basic, the initial security certifications that we do have, like CompTIA security and the other basic certifications for cybersecurity. So, do we get a chance to get into any of these teams that you have mentioned, at least purple or blue, something like that? So, what we
Yes.
need to do for that, or what should be the roadmap to get into there? If you can just say something on that, that will be really helpful. Thank you,
Yeah.
sir.
So thank you for asking that question, Osman Ali. So the first thing you have mentioned that you already have certifications, and I emphasize on gaining certifications, having certifications, because that will allow your CV to cross the gatekeeper, right? You can cross the initial thing, and the CV will land in a place where people will start looking at it. So certifications is one way to really, wade through that mess. And once you are there where your CV is there, now people will be looking at your experience in these areas. So let's say about red teaming and about all that stuff. So let's say we don't have it right initially, but we are aiming for that. So the I would encourage people to today it's very easy to gain that experience and add it on your CV about that experience. So if you start learning about this, let's say about red teaming, right? And there are lots of resources available on the internet that talks about red team, blue team, purple team. If you want, I can share the resources offline. And you try to learn a topic inside of that. Let's say it's a course, yeah, and then you try to blog about it. Okay, medium.com is a blogging website, and then you try to as if like what you understood from this, right? And you're trying to give it back to the community. So let's say the topic title could be analyzing malware using PCAP or Wireshark, right? And then you're talking about step by step. Actually, you're reproducing what is there in the course material, but from your own point of view, with your own lab screenshots and all that. So if I'm searching, if I took your CV, the first thing that I will do is I want to know what is that you have given back to the community. I'm not just blindly believing your CV. So I will take that and I will hit the Google, and I will notice your page, right, that you have done something. This is the first thing. The second thing is doing some small videos, right? 5 minutes video. There's so many guys there, right, on the YouTube. A very simple thing, right? I mean, they will have some kind of a video there. So you create some kind of a video about the small technique that you just learned. Okay. And if I'm the recruiter, I'm looking for this, right? You're trying to do something on your own and you're trying to share it with the community. And this is what I'm interested in. I'm not interested that you have so many different skills which I can train you on the job, but at least something which will allow me to start interviewing you, and even if you don't have that. And the third thing that I would encourage is, today there are gamifications of different techniques. For example, red team, a gamification which is called CTFs, capture the flags. Hackme.com, Then there is something called learn hack me, and there is something called hack the box, right? There are a lot of free CTFs, capture the flag events. So you need to participate in that, and create a something called a walkthrough about all how you did all this, and capture it in some kind of a block form, right? So this will now, as a potential recruiter, will allow me to notice your skills. You have done this, you have done that, right? Even though you don't have real world skills, but I recruit people, right? And this is what I look at, right? And then I give them a chance. Okay, come on, now I'm giving you a chance, show me your metal. And this one really, it really helps. Yeah. So I hope I answered your question. It was a kind of a very big answer to your question, but I answered it in a way that is now more apt and practical.
Thank you, sir.
Very cool. So let me if there is a chat here, I can put down medium.com. Okay, that's the blogging website. YouTube, just create something. And then the third one is check for CTF time. Yeah, CTF time, ctftime.org. These are all, it'll tell you different CTFs which are on. Hang on a second, there's some disturbance here. Okay, I unknowingly I was stamping on that microphone wire. Okay, any other questions?
Elaborate, there is a question in the chat box, if you can go through that.
All right, there's a question there.
Sure.
Okay, yeah, ctftime.org.
No,
Okay, medium, okay, it's medium.com, so not middle.org, medium, medium, medium.com or org, I don't know, but this is a blogging website where you can create your own blogs, right? I encourage people to do this, create your own blogs. ctf.com. And okay, do startups very early in their budding phase, like having just couple of servers providing web service, etc., I have to worry about this threats, or it's only after domain services become known? No, I would say every single organization, even startups, because you're connected to your to the internet, right? And let's say you have some juicy information, right, which the attackers would like want to steal. Yeah. And remember the supply chain attacks and all that. So I would say everybody has to have some kind of I would not say fully qualified team, but at least one person can wearing multiple hats. He's also the blue teamer, he's also the red teamer, he's also the purple teamer, right? And there are lots of stuff here. So let me list down some resources here that will help you. One is called a red team canary. If you Google this word, it'll take you to a website where simple things that you can do to become a red teamer, right? Copying these commands on your systems, entering it, this will generate the logs, and you can start monitoring for that, right? So that's the kind of stuff that I'm showing you. And of course, there is mitre.org that I just mentioned. Yeah, this also has got lots of resources. Okay, anything else that I'm missing? Please let me know if you want to have more technical sessions. Yeah, technical sessions would be helpful. Yeah, so I can go for more technical sessions, right? Provided we have the right audience, because I'm sure it will put off the other people who are not technically, savvy, right? Because we can really talk about it. Yeah, there's interesting session recording available. Uh, yes. Okay, he's interested in technical sessions. Cool. So you can get back to us. I'm leaving my email, my email address here. Yeah, so those who are interested in technical sessions can just drop me an email here. So we will try and see if we can, give it back to the community. One technical session a month, all right? I'm just hoping that, I can find some time to do this, but if it's possible, definitely why not? So teach you from the basics of, how to become a red teamer, how to become a blue teamer, how to become a purple teamer, right? My goal is to bring in, like this, a team of red teamers, blue teamers. Okay.
Assalamu alaikum.
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Sir, my name is Mohammed Ramzan. I am from Jammu and Kashmir, and I'm a software developer. So I purchased one hosting. So I had around 10 websites. So from last 2 years I was using, and recently someone attacked on my whole server, and everywhere I am finding that there are number of files and folders those are created. So I was stuck in that because the problem was like redirection, and some pages were not found, 503 error code. So I thought that I have to shift my server to some what secure server. So I chose Contabo. So do you think that this is a good recommendation, or you have any idea that how I should manage this stuff? Because I'm not much familiar regarding the security side. I am doing development and designing things.
Yes, Ramzan. I think the first thing is, those websites that you have created, they have to undergo some security assessments, right? Probably you know something called OWASP. Do you know something called OWASP? Yeah,
No, sir.
Open Web Application Security. So check this out, OWASP.org, right? And this one, every website that we develop has to pass something called OWASP top 10 tests, right? These are the ways which the attackers will try to, think. So OWASP has got all those top things, and there are some scanners, automated scanners that can help you find out those things. If you are a developer, I would say first run that scanner, right? There are scanners which are called, I can give you the scanners, right? For example, there's something called Nessus. Yeah, there's something called Nexpose. So you can search on Google for them, download them, right? They are commercial ones, but at least they'll give you one license to try it for 30 days, right? So maybe you can try and test this. Yeah. And there's something also called from IBM and all that, Acunetics and all that stuff. Anyway, oh, hang on a second, did I miss? So Acunetics, stuff like this. But that is the first thing, is scanning them. And then if you don't have that skill set, or if you cannot afford this, I would say, go to some vulnerability scanning companies, right? They will run this for you, give you a report, and you have to fix it. So once you fix it, hosting it on any provider, different providers will not help you solve your problem unless the root cause of the problem is handled properly, right? And this will allow you to do that. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, sir. Thank
Yeah.
you.
If you want more information, just get in touch with me on that email address, and we will see how to direct you to proper people.
Yes, sure, sir.
Assalamu alaikum, Hidayath. I have a query.
Yeah. Walaikum salam.
Yeah. So I'm into a testing domain from past like around 8 years of experience. I had a interest in moving into this security domain. In fact, I had started learning from basics, as you mentioned that OWASP standards, which might change. Like few of the topics, one or two will change every 3 or 5 years.
Yeah.
And I had started with burp sort my own, as this session was informative and helpful. So, do we have any regular sessions, as you mentioned, like monthly wise? But monthly wise, if we conduct, I think people might lose interest. Yeah, again, it depends. Like if they want to learn, they will join. I was just thinking like weekend patch or something. If you could take your time out and spend
Yeah,
some time with us.
that's there on the agenda, brother, to come out with ethical hacking. We did some 2 sessions in the past. that was more on cyber security essentials, right? But there's a demand and people have been asking for these kind of courses, which I have not myself been able to turn around and come out with that. But definitely it's there on my idea. But I don't think I'll be able to spend I think once a week is where I find myself, a time where I can spend it. So once a week, at least 2 hours or 3 hours, instead of having, which I can, ask you to do some assignments and then come back after 1 week. So this way, we can go over a period of 8 weeks and still, get the things done, right? So if you guys are interested in that format, let me know, because I'm kind of a little bit busy these days, with my current company, where spending every day is becoming a little bit of an issue for my time from my time.
Sure, right. Yeah, I do understand. Now, I think there is something again like DevSecOps, secure
Yeah.
ops is also coming into place. I think that's where the new topics that anybody who
Yes.
is into security will have to update their skills as well. So, yeah, as
Yes.
you mentioned, weekly is also fine. Kindly arrange and plan so that
Sure,
we could
sure.
attend. Yeah,
We'll let you know. So you know to contact MFIRD, right? If
yeah,
you're in touch with them, this will be announced through their forum, right? And
yeah.
then we will definitely take it forward with you guys.
Sure. Jazakallah.
Hi, sir. My name is Rishi Lodeshwar.
Hi,
Uh,
Rishi.
yeah, my question is little different as this topic. Like we have a one corporate scenario, one that people they have a laptop also.
Hmm.
Okay, so how we protect a laptop? Because see, in the corporate we have a antivirus server and firewall. Everything is there. Okay, so we are protecting there, but that people come to home, they using uh, local internet without protecting. So how they protect the laptop? How they save? Can you give me some suggestion on that part?
Yes. So first of all, your laptop will be connected to company's network, right? At some point of time. Yeah.
Yeah,
For downloading emails and whatnot. Yeah. So this laptop, which is the end machine, if your company is a decent security company, right, they know what they're doing, they
mm,
will be pushing something called GPOs. I'll try to push it here. Something called GPOs.
correct, sir.
GPO
Mm,
stands for, group policy objects, where even your laptops will have the same level of security as your internal machines. Yeah. And periodically, they will be, scanning the systems, your laptops and all, and it will be trying to do that. So, but if let's say your company is still not security savvy and they're not mature enough for that, if you're the company's internal guy, you can actually go to this site here called www.sans.org, and I think in resources, I'm not sure, check out for something called work from home security tips. Okay. For all the I think I covered this in one of my sessions. It's there in right. So how to secure the Wi-Fi gateway from on your home, how to secure your company sorry, your personal laptop, right? These are some 1 or 5 different steps. I'm just giving you a link here, but if you want more information, Rishi, you can actually get in touch with me, right? I'll be happy to point you to the real thing. But for the sake of interest of time, I'm just, talking at a
yeah,
very high level.
yeah. Please, sir, kindly share me that link. So we definitely.
Yeah, if you are in touch, get in touch with me on my email. I'll give you more information than what I have shared here.
Yeah, sir. Okay, thank you, sir. Because nowadays people are not spending much amount in that in IT sector, but they want a security, and nowadays people are working in work from home, so it's very difficult to secure the system.
Yes, yes, I understand. And don't worry, we have you covered. Everything that you need to cover your work from home systems securely, it's there, right? All you need to is follow those practices.
Okay, thank you so much.
Excellent, cool.
So do we have any more questions from the audience? Any last question? Okay, it has been a wonderful session. Thanks
Thank you,
for
sir.
sharing your knowledge, and we are always looking forward to hearing more and more from you in the
Yes.
technical.
Inshallah. So the next time, if you have the technical audience, I promise I'll cover a very detailed technical session, which will really help, upcoming aspiring cybersecurity geeks, right? Teach you some techniques, one or two. All right.
Okay, thanks a lot. Okay, Jazakumullah, Hidayat.
Jazakallah
Thank
khair.
you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Thank you, sir. Bye.
Bye.
Jazakallah. Thank you all.